Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to another video tutorial by HasLab. In this video tutorial, I'll hopefully be working through the whole specimen paper for the new specification. So hopefully you should have either the exam paper printed out, or you should be able to split the screen so that you can view the exam paper, as I don't intend to flip back and forth. Okay, so hopefully let's begin. If you turn over to page 2 of the specimen paper, it starts off with, you work for a company called Star Cars. You are going to perform some clerical tasks for this company. For reports, the following paragraph styles must be used with only the attributes specified in the house style specification sheet. Okay, so over here, the examiners have given us a house style specification sheet. Now what this means is every title in the report must have this font, so it must be a sans serif font, 24 points high, which is the size of the font, and it should be center aligned. So what we've got to is we've got to make these styles. Now be aware here, ladies and gents, that this doesn't necessarily just mean the Word document. It could also mean any document, okay, that's any document in the exam. So that could be possibly a memo, it could be a letter, it could be an email merge letter, it could even be as part of the presentation. So these are the house styles that this company uses, okay? Right. So, Star Cars is a company that imports cars and needs to keep in contact with its distributors. At the top of each sheet of its company letters, Star Cars must have the company logo. So in here, this is important information. Now, they may not have, as they've said it in the introduction, they may not tell us to do it in the scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight this so that I can come back to this later. So you should do this in the exam as well. So in here, annotate, I'm just going to highlight text, and a suitable logo to represent the company. When designing company documents, you may wish to add further enhancements to present a professional appearance for the company. Documents must be easy to locate in the filing system. Now, when they say must be easy to locate in the filing system, it could mean one of two things. Either we must add the file name and file path, or it must be in a folder within the desktop. So it shouldn't be within a folder within another folder that's within another folder, and that's where it's stored. So there's a reason that they've asked for this. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I also go into tools and highlight this as well. So I'd expect you to do this in the exam. So highlight text. Now, task 1, evidence document. Open the file, S16 evidence.rtf. Make sure that your name, center number, candidate number will appear on every page. Over here it says will appear on every page. This must mean that it must be either in the header or footer. Now, in the evidence document, by placing these details in the header, so we need to make sure that these details here are placed in the header of our evidence document. Save your evidence document in your work area as evidence, followed by a candidate number, for example. You will need your evidence document during the examination to place screenshots in when required. Okay, so what we've got to do first is I'm going to leave you to create the evidence document. Okay, so I'm really going to start. Now, what I wanted to mention here, guys, this is really important, is over here they've asked us, okay, to create this evidence document, which is an RTF file. It has .rtf. So this is a type of generic file type, and the key difference between this and a Microsoft Word document is that an RTF file often won't save formatting, okay, that we can make to the file. So it really has a limited amount of formatting, probably won't save columns, will allow images. So it's slightly more advanced than a text file, which won't allow images, however, obviously not as advanced as a Word document. So examiners will be expecting you to save your evidence document as a Word document. So make sure that we do that, please. That's really, really important. Okay. Now, guys, moving on to the next question. So, we now start with question 1. Okay, so you're going to edit a document about the development of a new port. using a suitable software package, load the file s16port.rtf. I've seen this RTF, so what I need to make sure I do is I need to make sure that I save it as a Word document. So I need to locate the file first. So here, from now on, I won't be going back to the sheet unless I need to. Okay, so we go back to the document. Mine is here. Okay, so use suitable software package, load the file s16port.rtf. So what we need to do is we need to find s16 port and just make sure that it is an RTF, rich text format. Okay, so this is the document here. Okay, so the first thing I do is I go to File, Save As, and I'm going to just save it as a Microsoft Word document. Okay, so save it as a Microsoft Word document. Okay, so I just click Save, and that is now saved. So we click OK, and then we carry on. Now, set the page size to A4 and set the page orientation to portrait. So, it's question 1. So we go to page layout, we set the size to A4, and we set the orientation to portrait as well. Okay, so that's the first two. That's the first mark. Question 2, set all margins to 2 centimeters. Okay, so in order to set the margins, I've got to go to margins here, and I'm going to go to custom margins down here. So custom margins, and in here they want all the margins 2 centimeters. So that means top, left, bottom, and right. So in here I just basically change these to 2 centimeters. Now be careful here, guys, because if your computers haven't been reset in the exam, you may have these in inches. So what you'd have to do in that case is type 2 cm in your computer, but hopefully they should be set in the exam. Okay, so in here 2 centimeters and 2 centimeters. Under question 2, evidence 1, it says place a screenshot evidence of page size and margins in your evidence document. So here I would basically print screen this, okay, and I would also print screen this as well. Okay, so this gives me the size, this gives me the margins. Okay, so we click OK, and there we have it. Now save the document in your work area, use the format of your software package, and give the document a new name. Right, okay, so let's just go back to the exam paper here. And what we can do here is just have a look at this. So it says save the document in your work area, use the format, okay, of your software package. So this means you've got to save it as a Microsoft Word document. So in here I'm just going to go to Tools, and I'm going to also highlight this because this is important. So we need to make sure that we can see this later on. Okay, moving on to question 3. In the header, enter your name, candidate number, candidate number left aligned, your center number right aligned. So what we need to do here is we go back to the question paper, and in the header, so I double click in the header area. Okay. Double click in the header area, and it says name, candidate number, left aligned in the header. So I just go to the insert, go to home, and I want this to be left aligned. So name, so here Mr. Hassi, you would obviously write your full names, candidate number 9999, center number QA066. Okay, and your center number should also be right aligned. Now what I'm going to do in here, guys, in order to get my center number to be right aligned, right, okay, I think I've made a mistake here. So this center number here should be right aligned. So what I'm going to just highlight this only, and then I'm going to, I think I've done this the wrong way. So this should be left aligned. Okay, and that should be right aligned. Okay, so on the exam paper, I will tick that off to make sure that I've definitely done that. Make sure that you read the questions more than once, please. Moving on to the second bullet point in question 3, it then says enter in the footer the automated file name left aligned. So here they want an automated file name. Now what this means is that the file name should automatically appear at the bottom of the document. Now, because they've said in the question paper at the beginning, okay, that it should be easy to locate, what we're going to do here is we're going to insert the file name and file path. Okay, so if I go back here to the question paper, we highlighted it earlier, so it should be easy to locate within the file structure. So if we just go back down here into the question paper, so it should be easy to locate in the filing system. This means that ideally it should also be printed, okay, on the question paper. So what we can do here is, if we go back to the question paper, I can go to Insert, go to Design. Here I can go to Quick Parts. Then I can go to Field. And in here I'm going to search for the file name. So if I press F, it gives me the file name, and here I can click Add Path to File Name. So what it will do, it will show me where the document is saved within the filing system. Basically, if I click OK, it basically says, look, the document is saved in C drive, under Users, under Hatem, in Desktop, in a folder called 0417 Source Files, and this is the document name. So this is really what the examiners are looking for. They also want today's date to be right aligned. So I'm just going to press Enter. I then insert today's date. Okay, so if I go to date and time, they just want the date. So I click OK. And they want it to be right aligned. So I can click on here and I can just go to Home and set this to be right aligned. Okay, so that's a few easy marks there. So just make sure that we get this right in the exam. And the best way to get this right is to make sure that you practice. So I've got lots of tasks in the Google Drive. I've got about 10 different tasks, I think, so you should be working your way through those. Now, on the third bullet point, it says make sure that all the alignments match the page margins. Now, what this means that this is my page margin here, so we need to make sure that all of these, that if I had a ruler here and I had a straight line, that this date, for example, doesn't really go beyond this over here. So it needs to stay within the page margins, which was 2 centimeters. And we can see here that it does, okay, stay there. So I think we're happy with this. Yep, okay, that's within the margins. And this also looks like it's within the margins. Okay, next bullet point in question 3, the last one. Make sure that the headers and footers are displayed on each page. So if I double click out of the header and footer, if I scroll down, we can see here that the headers and footers appear on each page. Remember, if you print a page that doesn't have your name, okay, or standard number or candidate number, then you may not get the paper in the exam. So everything must have your name in it. Okay, so moving on to question 4, you've got to create or edit these paragraph styles to be applied to the text in the document. Refer to the house style specification sheet for details. Now, I'm just going to go back to the question here, just to make sure that we're clear about what the examiners are asking us. So at the moment, we're on question 4, down here. So what they want us to do is they want us to create these house styles, and then want us to add these to our documents. So what we've got to do first, we've got to create this title house style. So how do I know what this title house style is? If I go back to the house style specification on the previous page, then I can find them in here. So this is the title. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the steps of how to make each of these house styles and then apply them. Now, it may be different depending on the software that you're using. So you need to make sure that you practice this on the software that you're going to be using in school. Okay, so what we're going to do is we go back to the question paper. Now, I'm going to create a new house style now, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do this in a slightly different way. Here, I'm going to create a title. I'm going to just type title in here, and I'm going to apply the font style to this first, and then I'm going to make it into a style. So if I go back to the question paper, on page 1 title, it says it should be a sans serif. So sans, we said, means without the curls. So that means it should be Arial. Okay, 24 points. So size should be 24. And it should also be center aligned. Okay, so this is my title style. Now if I click in here under styles, I can go to save selection as quick style. and it should be called title in here. So Title. Make sure that the spellings are obviously exactly the same. If I go to modify, okay, so it won't allow this because I already have that style. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call it exam, okay, underscore title. Okay, I then click modify. And now in here we can see that the style has actually been applied here. So I don't really want it based on anything. I don't want it linked. So I will, actually no, we can just leave that as it is. Based on, yeah, no spacing, we'll leave that there, because sometimes what happens is it bases it on a previous style. So here I don't want it based on any style. So here I'm going to select no style. And what we can see here is that it automatically takes everything else off. So it's just going to leave everything in here. And I want it to be the exam style. So I'm just going to flick through to make sure I haven't missed anything out. Yeah. Okay, so here, this is our exam style. I'm just going to go back in here and double check that this is definitely Arial, 24 points. This is the font type, so it's Arial 24 left aligned. Now, this styles box may be different depending on which software you're using. So, add to quick styles lists only in this document, automatically update. So here I think that should be fine, but I don't like, if I just go to normal, yeah, okay, so here we have, it's based on the normal one, but I'm not, character, do I leave yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it as it is, yeah, so it's basically character and style following, yeah, I think that's, yeah, that's it, we'll leave it as it is. Okay, so there we go. So as long as we have, okay, this information in here, then we should be fine. Okay, so we click OK, and now we've just made our exam style. Okay, now we've then got to create the subtitle style. So oh, by the way, the evidence for this, in case the examiners ask, is you can see now I've got the exam style in here under my styles. If you go to right mouse click, modify, you need to make sure that you print screen there. So the examiners will be looking for this information in here under the style. So is it 24 points? Okay, is it center aligned? Yes, it is centered. Okay, and is the font type a sans serif, Arial, which it is. Okay, so this is what the examiners are looking for. Okay, so what we do is we click OK, and yeah, there it is. So then we move on to the next style, which is the subtitle style. So what I'm going to do once more is I'm just going to press enter. I'm going to type subtitle in here, subtitle. I then highlight the font, go in here again, and I'm going to save selection as a new style, and I'm going to call this subtitle. Let's see if this one works. Subtitle. Click modify. It already exists. So what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to call it exam. Okay, subtitle. Now, what you may need to do is you may need to, in fact, what we could do as well is we could actually find the subtitle. So this is the subtitle style. Right mouse click, and we can modify this one. Okay, so this is the subtitle style. We want to edit this style, so it may be better here. We could do it as no style, and here it could also be based on the normal one as well. Okay, but it's probably best that we create a row number because otherwise it's going to be too complicated. So we go into here, we go to save selection as a new quick style. Okay, we then exam subtitle underscore subtitle. We then click modify. in here we then go to make sure it's the sans serif font. So it doesn't show that at the moment. So we go to Format, Font. In here it should be sans serif, which is also Arial. Okay, it should be 18 points. So in here, this is the size, 18 points high. Oh sugar, actually, this is complex script. No, we want the normal one. Okay, so regular should be 18 points. All text, it should be italic and underlined. So the italic, where is italic here? Okay, and it should also be underlined as well. And I cannot find, what I should have done is I should have applied these styles to the previous one. Let's just cancel that a moment. So here, make it italic and underlined, and it should be right aligned, so it should be to the right of the page. So right aligned, then we click in here, save selection as new style. Okay, then in here we call it exam subtitle. Okay, and we click modify, and here as you can see that it's automatically inherited the properties. Okay, so underline complex script, which is italic, left to right, it's right aligned, okay, and it's also based on this exam style. Okay, so far so good. So we click OK. Now we have that style. The subheading style. Okay, so we can see here in the exam paper that it looks like we have some subheadings here. Okay, so this over here is development. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the style first. So they want it to be a sans serif. So in here it should be Arial once again, size 12, which it is, single line spacing. Single line spacing, we can go to paragraph here and spacing, so it should be single with one clear line space after the subheading. Okay, so this is okay. So this one we need to really go back to the subheading for, because after the subheading there should be a single space, and after that. So we're gonna have to come back to this one. Okay, and I think that that's done. So we click OK, and it automatically sets that. Now, what they said here was that there should be a single line spacing after the subheading. So really what we've got to do here is you've really got to go back to the subheading, modify, and in here, go to Format, under Paragraph. Can you hear it says spacing after? So a single line spacing is really about 12 points. Okay, so here's our subheading, and the text will appear with a single line after it. So if we click OK, then that will appear on the subheading. Okay, so after the subheading. Nope, sorry, that was the subtitle. Okay, so I'm just going to undo that. That's my mistake. Yeah, single line spacing after the subheading is there. So if I go back to the paragraph, okay, in here spacing after, there should be kind of a single line which is about 12 points. Okay, so it'll be after. So if I click OK, then basically just increases the gap here between the subheading, okay, and the paragraph. Okay, and if I then go to here, I can then create our new style. So save selection as quick style. In here we're going to call this exam underscore subheading. Okay, we then click modify, and here the examiners will be looking for this. So is it Arial, left to right? Does it have, yep, after 12 points spacing? Is it on single line spacing? Yes, it is. Okay, so based on, okay, so if it doesn't say single, we then click over here. We just go to paragraph and make sure that it says single over here. Okay, so I may, for example, print screen this as well. We then click OK, and we get the print screen of this and add it to our evidence document. Okay, so that's good. Then we have the body text. So this over here looks like our body text. So the body is always the main text within the document. So I'm just going to highlight this text here. Okay, and I'm going to set the style, okay, to the body text. So what we then do, the body text is serif. So serif means it has the curls. So I'm going to use Times New Roman. Okay, it should be 10 points. So in here we choose term, 1.5 line spacing, go to paragraph, in here spacing, okay, it should be 1.5. Line spacing fully justified with one clear line spacing after each paragraph. So here after each paragraph there should be there should be single line spacing. Okay, so it should be clearly after each paragraph in here. Okay, which is then good. Okay, so we then click OK. So we can see here that it set the style, and then we just go in here and we want to save the selection as a new style, and we're going to call this style exam underscore body text. Body text, go to modify, and there we have it. So here's our body text, and just make sure that we can see here all of the changes that we've made. Okay, so is it 10 points? Can I see that? Yes, I can. That would be the mark 1.5 line spacing. Can I see that? Yes, I can. Can I see that it's fully justified? No. So what we need to do for fully justified is, if you go back to format, you can either do it from here or from the normal view. If you go to font, and here, oh wait, it's under alignment, I believe. It's not in here. No, it may be under paragraph. But anyway, what I'll do actually is I'll just go back into here. So I'm going to cancel this. So fully justified means basically this is left aligned, center aligned, right aligned. Here, this is fully justified. So justify, look what happens to the text when I click fully justified. So I'm going to justify it, and all that happens is the text basically aligns itself down the side, so it becomes like a, like a rectangular block of text. Okay, so we then do the same thing again. We're just going to highlight the text, go to our style, okay, save selection as quick style. In here we then type same thing again, exam underscore body text. Okay, and we then click modify again, just to make sure that we can see all of the styles that we've applied. Serif should be Times New Roman, good. We have size 10, good. We want fully justified. Can we see that in here? Yes, we can. Justified. For each one, clear line spacing. So line spacing 1.5, clear line spacing after each paragraph. So after 12, okay, so that's good. So now we have everything. So this is how you've basically got to make sure that you double check, because this is what the examiners will be looking for. So we've just finished creating our styles. So we then click OK, and we then we're now able to move on. So in question 4 under evidence 2, show evidence of the details of your definition of the body text paragraph style in your evidence document. So basically what the examiners want you to do is they want you to go to exam body, okay, then go to modify and print screen this here. So make sure that it's clear in the print screen place. Okay, so we then move on. Question 5, it says insert. What we need to do is we need to basically apply all of these styles to our evidence document. Okay, so what we've got to do is, this is obviously our title, so we'll be putting a title in here soon, a subtitle. In here we should see all of the body text in here. So this over here looks like it's our body text. So in here, if I click body, can you see it automatically, okay, updates the fonts that we've used. Okay, so if I in fact, if I select everything, just to speed things up. Go to body text. We can see here now, okay, that it hasn't applied it properly. Yeah, so there we go. So now we have body text. Yeah, so basically if I go through and do this a second time, it looks like it's done it to some of the font, but not all of it. Something new to me. So if I click on body text again, just click on it, and now we can see it's applied it to all the fonts. Yeah, so all the fonts look like they're the same font type now. Now in here we can also see that there are our subheadings. Okay, so if I highlight the subheading once again, I can go to exam subheading, in here once again, so exam subheading. So every time I add a new subheading, I can just make sure that the document is consistent. So exam subheading. Okay, so these are all of our subheadings in here. Storage and development, exam subheading, and car exports, exam subheading. Okay, so there we go, guys. So we can see that the spacing is the same, okay, across all of our documents as well. Okay, so I think so far so good. Now, moving on to question 5. Insert a blank line at the start of the document and enter the title, Dock Facilities at Port Peppard. Now, we need to make sure that we spell this correctly. So I already, in fact, added the... okay, so what I'll do is, now that I've added those two, what I'm going to do is, there was a line, I added the line spacing before, so I can just add in here, so it would be Dock Facilities at Port Peppard. Okay, so just make sure that I go back through the exam paper, just DOCK Facilities at Port Peppard, capital P, capital P. Remember, guys, if you get the if you don't write exactly the same, that's with uppercase and lowercase letters, you will lose the marks here. So, that question 5 done. Question 6, apply the title style to this text. It's already applied. So all I need to do is, if I don't do this, I can just click on here, exam title. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so it's applied. Moving on to question 7. Below the title, add the subtitle reported by, and then add your name. So in here, they want me to type reported by. Okay, oh sorry, not reported, report by, colon, and then they want me to add the name, so Mr. Hassan, and we'll just double check to make sure that it is using the same style here, and it should be exam subtitle. If we look at the subtitle slide, it says they're roughly the same sort of size, aren't they? So we can see I've made a mistake here with the subtitle. This should be size 18. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click, modify. Okay, and I'm just going to change the size of this to size 18. So go to format in here, then go to font and go to 18. Okay, so click apply, OK, and it's still not changed. Let's do it from here. Okay, let's go to modify. Yeah, so can you see in here it says size 18. Okay, so here I don't want it based on exam title, based on no style in here. Okay, so we'll click OK. Okay, now we can see here that this is the biggest font. This should be, the thing that gave it away really for me was that the size of it was too big. Okay, well they were roughly the same size, so normally they wouldn't be the same sizes. Okay, now next question, which is question 8. Apply the subtitle style to this text. So we then highlight this, just make sure that the subtitle text is selected here. Yes, it is. After the subtitle, format the rest of the document as the body text into two equally spaced columns with 1 centimeter gap. We've already formatted the text, so what we need to do here is we've basically got to, we can see here in fact that the space here is too big. Okay, so this space looks like it's too big, so we need to make sure that the space in between each of the paragraphs is the same, so the examiners will be looking at this, so there shouldn't be any lines, okay, in between. Okay, good, that's fine, so just go back through it. Okay, now that's fine. Yeah, okay, so all of these are okay. Guys, if there is a gap, the examiner, you will lose marks, okay, because you've already set the paragraph style after the subheading to be literally a line spacing after, so 12 points, okay. Now, question 8, after the, we need to basically set this into 2 paragraphs, so you've got to highlight the document, then you've got to go to insert, and you've got to find the columns, sorry, page layout, columns, always go to more columns, don't go to 2 because you get the extra option, so more columns, then in here we want 2 paragraphs, and the line space, the gap should be 1 centimeter. So 1 centimeter is the gap that's between both of the columns. I'll show you that in a moment. So if I click OK, if I scroll up, so this gap here should be 1 centimeter gap. Okay, so if I increase the number for the spacing, then the spacing here will also increase. Okay, so then moving on to question 10, apply the body text style to the rest of the document. I've already done that. In the left column, before the first paragraph of the document, enter the subtitle, a major regional port. Right, okay, so in here, in the left column, before the first paragraph, this is our first paragraph. Okay, enter the subheading, a major regional port. So what we need to do here, this is question 11 by the way, so I need to push enter. I then need to write a major regional port. Okay, make sure it's spelled and written exactly the same way. Identify all the subheadings, so question 12, identify all the subheadings in the document and apply the subheading style to each one. So this is a new subheading. Okay, so in here we've got to apply the exam subheading style. So this is the exam, subheading style, which is this one here. Okay, so they wanted us to go through here and add the, make sure that they've all got the subheading style. So here we've identified them, or identified them before, and we just really got to go through them. Okay, yep, that one's done, this one's done, this one's done. Oops, daisy. Okay, yep, so they're all done. Okay, so we're good there. Question 13. Find a table in S16 export.rtf and insert it at the end of the document. So here we have a document called S16. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sure that I save this, just so I don't lose this in case anything happens. I'm then going to minimize this. Okay, find this document, so S16 export.rtf, S16 export, rich text format means RTF, and they want me to copy this table into the end of my document here. So I'm just going to click here, right mouse click, copy, go back into my document, and they said they wanted it at the end of the document. So what we can do here, so this is the end of the document, okay, and yeah, we'll put it over here. So right mouse click and paste it. Okay. Okay, so make sure that the table fits within the column width. Now, this is a mistake that students often make. So what I'm going to do basically here, guys, I'm just going to move the column width down. And what needs to happen here is we can see that at the moment the table is outside of the column width. So what I've got to do here is I need to make sure that I resize it so that it's within the column width. Okay, so we can see over here, this is probably going to be outside. We'll probably get away with it. That's within. Okay, and this is also, yeah. So it can't be outside the column width. Merge the cells, so question 15, merge the cells in the top row of the table across the 5 columns. So it looks like they want us to merge this. across the 5 columns. So what we can do here is we can highlight it, then go to where is it? Merge. We may be able to right mouse click and go to merge cells. So there we go. So we've merged it across the 5 columns. Format only this row to be center aligned and underlined. So the top row should be center aligned and underlined. Okay. Apply grayscale 20 to 40% shading to only the top 2 rows in the table. So 2 top rows means this is row number 1, this over here is row number 2. So they want us to apply grey shading. So the way we do grey shading is we go to the fill color or shading, and in here if we hover over the grayscale, we can see in here that it says darker 25%. So they want between 20 to 25. I think that there should be fine. Set all borders of the table to be visible when printed, and we can see here that all borders are visible when printed. Now guys, what we need to do here, the table is really part of the body text. Okay, so what we've got to do is we need to make sure that we also set the text in here, okay, as the same as the body text. So exam, body, oh, oops, I didn't do this one here. So this is normally an area where students lose marks, and then in here we've just got to add the underline and center align. So it's really an extension of the body text. Okay, so we have that, and then I can just resize this. Actually, it won't let me. Okay, but anyway, it's still within, so that's not going to be a problem. Yep, okay, question 17 is done. We can see all the borders are in there, so that's fine. Now, question 18, it says import the image S16 ship.jpg. Okay, resize the image to a height of 3 centimeters and maintain the aspect ratio. Let's find out where to place the image. Place this image on the first page below the subheading and major regional port. So they want us to put it in here, okay, under this subheading. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just push enter here, then I'm going to insert picture, and mine is in here. So this is the image here. It's a JPEG file, so just double check that that's the right one. I then click on here. I've inserted the image now. Now, question 18, the second bullet point, resize the image to a height of 3 centimeters and maintain aspect ratio. Now guys, because they've said this, it means we can't basically do this. Okay, if we try and resize it this way, it often doesn't work because it doesn't maintain the aspect ratio. The best way to do this is to click on the image. So let me just undo that. Okay, is to click on the image, go to the height, and resize it and make sure that the height is 3 centimeters here. Okay, so that's 4.1. Let's take it down to 3 centimeters. 3.3, 3.2, and 3 centimeters. Okay, so now that's maintained the aspect ratio. Place this image on the first page. It's on the first page. Below the subheading, a major regional port. It's below that. Aligned with the top of the first paragraph. So they want this to be aligned with the top of the first paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the image. And in here, I'm going to go to wrap text, and I'm going to select tight. I should have selected square. No, tight. I'm then going to move the image. Does it say right aligned or left aligned? Aligned with the top of the first paragraph, aligned to the left. Yeah, so they want it to be aligned to the left over here. So I should be able. So in here, I'm going to oh, whoops, I don't undo. Okay, so if I move this down, then eventually, so I'm just going to move it down bit by bit. Okay, and we can see here that it's aligning itself. All the text is wrapping around it. Okay, so it should be aligned with the first paragraph, and this is another mistake that students often make. So look at the care that we're taking with this. Okay, so that there, it's within the column. Oh, mine is a little bit slow. Okay, so let's just move it up a little bit. It's still moving on its own. It's still going. Okay, it's still going. Okay, let's just, you know, it may be best if I just move it up manually. Okay, so there we have it. So now it's aligned with the top of the paragraph. Just move it a little bit more, and yeah, there we go. So and make sure it's also within the column. Okay, now make sure that the text wraps around the image, which it does. It may look like this. Now the examiners here have given us a clue. Okay, so if I go into the exam paper, we can see here. Where is it? I just. Oh dear, this is. Okay, we can see here. Okay, can you see this image over here? Now, we can see here that the image, okay, is left aligned. Oh, so there's something wrong. So it must be there's something wrong, okay, with something that I've done. So what I need to do is I need to go back to the question, read it properly. So align to the left margin. Okay, I've aligned it to the right margin. So here, this gives me a clue. So this is what my title should look like. My heading or my title, subtitle, my headings, okay, over here. So I've actually placed it in the wrong part. So what I need to do here is I need to click on here, on the image, then I need to right align it. Okay, so it should be over here. So the examiners have really told us what it should look like. Okay, so there we go. So it's within the margins. Okay, then question 19. Use the information in the table that you placed in your document to produce a bar chart showing the actual export compared to planned export volumes. You may need to take this data into another package to produce the chart. Now, in here, we were asked to use this data here to produce a graph. Okay, so they want something that shows the planned export against the actual exports. So what I need to do now is I need to open Excel. Okay, so if I go into here, type Excel. Okay, then in here, I'm going to copy and paste the data. So let's just close that. Click OK. And if I minimize this now, so I'm going to copy this, place it in Excel, because this is the software that we normally use to make graphs. We have more control over what the graph looks like. Okay, and let's just double check what they want us to do. So display the chart with vertical bars. And let's check. So use the information in the table that you place in your document to produce a bar chart showing the actual export compared with the planned export volume. So they want a graph that shows us this and a graph that shows us this information. Now this is each of the years. Now what we need to do here is if I highlight this, okay, and go to insert bar graph, we can see here that it gives us or shows the information like this. What it's actually doing here, let me just explain what's going on. So we don't know where this 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers have come from in the x-axis. Okay, but ideally what we want here is we want the years, okay, to be in here under 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we've got to do, we've got to tell the spreadsheet, okay, to take the years, okay, and place the years in here. So this should be our x-axis. So what we can do here is we can go to select data and we can go to edit the horizontal axis, and then here these are going to be our data labels over here. Okay, so if we click OK, it's done that now. Okay, the other thing I want to do is it doesn't ask us to show the years because we already have the year in here now, but the spreadsheet still thinks that this is 2007. So I want to remove the year from here. So if I click OK now, we can now see that it gives me the year and it has the planned, okay, and actual export volumes. Okay, so that's question 19. Question 20, label the chart with the title car export volumes. So we've got a double click in here. Remember guys that the area that's in green over here in the spreadsheet is these are really our controls, okay? This really involves anything that involves any change that we want to make to the chart. So often the examiners may ask you to do something that you've never done before. So what you've got to do in here is you've got to select the green area and look for the options in here. Now, in this case, they want a chart title. So layout, chart title. Here I want it to be above the chart, and the chart title should be car export volumes. Okay, which is done. Category series labeled displayed in full. So this is the category series. Okay, so this is our category series. Access title is car. Okay, so here this is our category. So these are planned and actual. We may actually change these. So these over here are labeled in full. They're good. And the series, we want to also insert axis titles. So we want it to be below the axis. And in here, this is the year. Okay, and we also want to insert the primary. Okay, so over here it shows us what it's going to look like, and we just want rotated text. So over here there should be number of cars. Number of cars. Okay, question 21. So now just check that everything is there. Make sure that we check the spellings. Everything is clear on there. Yes, it is. That's good. Question 21. Place the chart at the end of the document after the table. Resize the chart to fill the column width and keep the aspect ratio. So we select the chart, copy. We then go back to our Word document. Oh, well, not this one. This one over here. We scroll down to the bottom of the table. So in here we had to make some extra space to check the width of the column to make sure that the table fits within that. So in here we can see the table fits in here okay. They then want it to be placed at the bottom. So what I need to do in here is enter, paste the chart, and we can see here that it's automatically resized the chart for us. Okay, so it's definitely within the column width. And that's question 21. Question 22. This is an important part. So it says spell check and proofread the document. So there are probably some spelling mistakes here. So what we need to do is we've got to run a spell check. So we've got to go to review, and we're going to spell check in grammar. And here Port Peppard is obviously a name, so we're going to ignore all. By Mr. Hassin, okay, so there should be a space in here, so I'm going to change that. Hassin obviously is a name, ignore all, and that's done. Okay, so it's been spell checked. Okay, tables do not overlap two columns or pages. So this is our table. It obviously doesn't overlap the columns or pages. Tables do not overlap two columns or pages. Over here, table doesn't overlap the columns or pages. No widows or orphans. Okay, now this one is an important one. Now, it says in here no widows and orphans. So what widows and orphans are is basically where we have headings, okay, that are sometimes on their own. So over here, the examiners have obviously done this on purpose. So in here, this is what we call a widow because the heading is on its own, whereas the rest of the paragraph either moves into the next page or the next column. So what we need to do here is we need to basically press enter to make sure that it's with the rest of the paragraph. So make sure that there are no there are no headings or trailing sentences from previous paragraphs. So this is okay. It's normally with the headings, so that's fine. And yeah, I think everything else is okay now. Okay, so we're good there. And make sure there are also no blank pages. There are no blank pages, which is also fine. Question 22, the last point is print out one. Make sure that you have entered your center number, candidate number, and name on your document. So in here, we've got our center number, candidate number, and our names on the documents. And that, ladies and gents, is the end of the first part of the exam. Okay, thank you for watching. We'll then move on to the database report in the next task.